600,000 people go missing in the United States each year. Tens of thousands remain mysteriously missing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mysteriously Missing. I'm Justine.
Hello, I'm Karen. This episode highlights a missing woman in Wilmington, North Carolina, and that's a port city located on the Atlantic Ocean.
We are talking about Ebonee Shanetta Spears, and she has been missing since January 15th of 2016. Ebonee was last seen near her home at Taylor Home Estates in the 1300 block of Brooklyn Lane around 10 p.m., and she has never been heard from again. Her vehicle was left outside of her apartment, and we don't really have a description of it, but we know it was found outside of her apartment.
Yeah, it really didn't come into play in the case. Ebonee was wearing a burgundy or purple sweatshirt, a white shirt, blue jeans, brown leather Timberland boots, and a pink knit cap, also referred to as a toboggan cap.
And Ebonee does have some tattoos. She has a rose tattoo on her right shoulder and a tattoo of a butterfly on the top of her right foot. Ebonee's described as a reliable person and a devoted mother to her daughter. She's also very sweet and outgoing, and her mom says, "The Ebonee I know and love so much is a responsible person." Ebonee's date of birth is May 12th, 1985, and so she'll be 34 this year. She was 30 years old when she went missing, and on NamUs, they had her described as about 5'3" and weighing about 140 to 150 pounds, but on the Charlie Project, they reported her height as 5'7" to 5'8", so anywhere between 5'3" and 5'8". Ebonee is African American. She's a female, black hair, brown eyes. Her hair was dyed blonde at the time of her disappearance, though. And Ebonee suffers from lupus, a serious and sometimes fatal autoimmune disease. She was diagnosed in the summer of 2015.
So not too long ago.
Right, and she had recently been prescribed an antidepressant and became confused and paranoid after she started taking it. Ebonee may be in need of medical attention.
Yeah, and her mom is Harriet Rivers, and she's very much a spokesperson for the family, as well as her father, Alfonso Rivers. And Ebonee is the youngest of 4 children. She has a 14-year-old daughter named Ania, and she has a cousin who also speaks up in some of the video clips, Chantel Kirby, and her boyfriend at the time was Antonio McCoy. Ebonee once worked as a receptionist at Carolina Gymnastics Academy, and her 14-year-old daughter, Ania, still attends classes there.
Now, getting into the timeline, a few weeks before Ebonee's disappearance, Wilmington Police Detective Lee Odom said Ebonee had checked into a hotel in downtown Wilmington, and this is a few minutes away from her apartment. She accused staff of stealing her things that worked at that hotel, which is a little strange.
Yeah, and they said that the accusations were unfounded, so she was already starting to act a little
out there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom, Harriet, said that Ebonee had not been acting like herself the week before her disappearance.
So even further back, a few weeks before.
Mm-hmm. Now, January 14th, 2016, this is a Thursday, the night before Ebonee disappeared, her parents met her in the parking lot of the Wilmington Police Department. She was disoriented and paranoid, her mother said, a symptom of the new medication she was taking for the autoimmune disease lupus. Ebonee's parents wanted police to commit Ebonee for psychiatric treatment. Her father, Alfonso, said that paramedics were called to the parking lot, but ultimately they declined to transport her. Police Department spokeswoman Linda Raleigh Thompson said officers told her parents that if they were concerned about Ebonee's behavior, they would have to go to a magistrate to request she be involuntarily committed. Within about an hour, Ebonee was acting lucid again, and her parents felt comfortable allowing her to go home.
Now, Friday, the next day, Ebonee's father picked her up in the morning to take her to their home on Price Lane for breakfast. In the late morning or early afternoon, Alfonso Rivers took his daughter home. He intended to pick up sandwiches for dinner, and Ebonee was to drive herself back to her parents' house. About 7 p.m., Ebonee called her mom and said she'd eaten a salad and was going to stay home. A Wilmington Police Department investigator said a check of Ebonee's cell phone records indicate that that was the last call she made from her phone. In a search for witnesses after her disappearance, investigators found 2 people at the Community Boys and Girls Club on Nixon Street, a few blocks away from police headquarters, who saw Ebonee between 7 and 8 that same night. Ebonee was walking on Nixon Street and flagged down a van driven by an employee, Ebonee's friend, who works at the Community Boys and Girls Club. When the van stopped, she jumped inside, said Wilmington Police Detective Lee Odom. The driver was heading back to the club, which is within a few blocks of the police headquarters. The employee told investigators Ebonee was looking around like someone was following her. At the club, a social worker did speak with her. The social worker also found that Ebonee was acting paranoid. Then Ebonee left the club and went to the Wilmington Police Department station herself.
So now she went to the station in the 600 block of Best Street, which is several blocks from her home. She asked to use the phone there, and she was still acting strangely and appeared to be disoriented. Ebonee was directed to the payphone, which is located in the lobby, and was unable to operate it. About 8 o'clock that night, this was all caught on video from the surveillance camera in the police department's lobby. She actually used the phone, Lieutenant Kelvin Hargrove said. The front desk officer showed her where the phone was. Ebonee then began to pace back and forth between the front desk and the phone for about 10 minutes. At one point, she got so upset that she started cursing and then she left. The front desk officer then went and checked the phone to make sure the phone was still working because he didn't know why she was so upset. And this is said by Lieutenant Hargrove. Ebonee was then seen at the Boys and Girls Club again. She was last seen leaving Boys and Girls Club headed toward her home at 8:30 or 9 o'clock that night.
At approximately 10 p.m., according to a neighbor at Taylor Home Estates where Ebonee lived, Ebonee approached him and asked for a cigarette. When the man told her he had only 1 cigarette left, Ebonee said she'd walk to a nearby store. The neighbor was the last person to report seeing her, according to the police. Harriet Rivers said her daughter's boyfriend, Antonio McCoy, went to Ebonee's apartment about 11 p.m. and let himself in. Antonio noted Ebonee's vehicle was outside and her purse was in the house, but her cell phone was not. When he called the cell phone, his call went straight to Ebonee's voicemail. 2 hours later, when Ebonee still hadn't come home, Antonio called her parents about 1 a.m. in the morning.
So the next afternoon, it's January 16th, it's a Saturday, her parents had reported Ebonee's disappearance to the police. It's uncharacteristic of Ebonee to leave without a warning, they stated. So January 29th, 2016, this is 2 weeks after her disappearance, nearly 250 people, these are friends and family members, gathered in a vigil Friday evening. Friends and family lit candles of hope and sang Amazing Grace. Some lifted the candles over their heads in prayer for Spears' homecoming. The crowd was so large that there were not enough candles to go around.
Now, February 26, 2016, per WECT, for the first time, we're hearing from the boyfriend of Ebonee. I just seen her that morning, and then she disappeared, says Antonio McCoy. It just doesn't add up. Antonio says he's barely slept since Ebonee vanished 6 weeks ago. He says he drove to Ebonee's apartment about an hour after police say she was last seen there. Her car was in the driveway, her purse inside, but no Ebonee. I was wondering like she doesn't go nowhere without that purse, he says. I looked in it, the license I remember being there. There were cards in it, bank cards. So a year after her disappearance at a gathering for Ebonee, to honor her, here is an audio clip of her cousin Chantel Kirby speaking about Ebonee.
We're out passing out flyers every week, every day still. We're talking to everyone that we can possibly talk to who would have any interest in finding Ebonee.
So now on January 14th, 2017, there was an article published by Star News regarding the police involvement in the surveillance video about Ebonee. So a year after Ebonee disappeared, questions linger about the Wilmington Police Department's handling of the case as her distraught parents continue to pray that their youngest child comes home. but video of the single mother's erratic behavior purportedly captured earlier that evening on a surveillance camera in the lobby of the police headquarters just blocks from her home has left many asking why police didn't do more to intervene. Within days of Ebonee's disappearance, Assistant Police Chief Jim Verone said Ebonee appeared at the Wilmington Police Department's front desk, which was staffed by 2 cadets and a senior officer, and she had asked to use the phone. Chief Verone said she was directed to a telephone in the lobby, and when she was unable to operate it, she appeared to get frustrated and left. That hurts me as of today, her father said. She was begging for help and nobody paid her no mind. You all know something is wrong with her. She has a short sleeve shirt on. It's raining out there. You know something's wrong with her. Come out from behind the desk. Ebonee's father, Alfonso, and his wife, Harriet, said they viewed the video twice. They said the video showed that Ebonee appears disoriented. She paces back and forth between the front desk and a phone, and at a certain point she sits in a chair and then again approaches the window. About 10 minutes later, she walks out the front door.
Police have refused repeatedly Star News requests for the video's release. Initially, the request was denied out of respect for the family. When the Rivers family announced they wanted the video released, the PD denied the request again, citing it was part of an ongoing investigation. Then, on November 28, 2016, in response to another Star News request, Police Department spokeswoman Linda Raleigh Thompson denied release of the video, citing new state law. The legislation spokeswoman Thompson was referring to the July passage of a state law that blocks the release of law enforcement body camera or dashboard camera recordings of absent of a court order. The video we are talking about in this case would not be affected, said Amanda Martin, legal counsel for the North Carolina Press Association, for 2 reasons. You made your request before the law went into effect, and second, it's not a dash camera or body camera.
Now, that's the last time I see my daughter, Alfonso Rivers said. He questions why there is no further footage once Ebonee leaves the lobby. The Wilmington police say there are no surveillance cameras in the parking lot of the police department headquarters, which is at located at 615 Best Street. Harriet Rivers said her family also was denied the video. We asked for a copy of the video and they said we couldn't get one because it was an ongoing case. Alfonso Rivers said the refusal to release the video is another thing that has fueled his suspicions that police haven't truly investigated his daughter's disappearance.
It's been a year of the police department changing its reasoning for why the video is not a public record, Star News executive editor Pam Sanders said. Particularly given the family has asked that it be released, why not see if it can jar someone's memory of seeing her? The Wilmington police denies any wrongdoing in the case, particularly in its perceived lack of the intervention when Ebonee's parents asked for help the night before she disappeared, and again when she showed up by herself in the lobby hours before she was last seen. Obviously, the police cannot take her into custody without commitment papers, Detective Odom said. Police had seen no erratic behavior, and she hadn't committed a crime. We can't just go arresting people.
Harriet and Alfonso said if the police officers didn't help them, then are those the same police officers taking their daughter's disappearance seriously?
So they have some concern that are
definitely.
They investigating or are they a bit angry with them?
Mm-hmm. The couple said investigators never initiate calls to them, and as a result, they have no idea of the status of the investigation. Alfonso said that when he and his wife were allowed to watch the video, and Rivers asked an investigator directly why officials let Ebonee walk out of the department that night, the investigator angrily shut down the discussion and asked them to leave. When a young lady came into the department, or the police department, it's dark and cold, and she don't get no kind of assistance, her dad said. That's wrong. The thing is, she's not here. We know nothing, and with each passing day, that's something I dwell on, her mom added. At night, I go to bed and I don't hear nothing. When I wake up and I don't hear nothing, that's something that is always there. And this is her parents talking.
Right. On Sunday, January 15, 2017, at Carolina Gymnastics Academy, where Ebonee once worked, Harriet talked about Ebonee during a gathering in her honor. Her mom said she decided to arrange this public event to try to spark leads in this cold case. She is convinced someone, somewhere, knows what happened to her child. My daughter is not here. I can't talk to my daughter. Her daughter cannot talk to her mama. If more should have been done, if more can be done, that's what we want. We pray, we pray, we pray. We pray night and day. In the meantime, if somebody knows something about Ebonee, they just need to let us know. So spokeswoman Thompson said investigators are always ready to follow any leads that come in. And she responded by saying this case remains open and our detectives continue to follow leads as they are provided. Our agency handles hundreds of missing person cases each year, and our goal is to provide the same level of care and commitment to each one until they are resolved.
So now it's November 20th, 2017. Harriet Rivers has spent nearly 2 years putting her daughter's face everywhere, from posters to water bottles. I recently started this thing with my coworkers with water bottles, said her mom. Anybody that I know that's traveling, giving them some water bottles and flyers with Ebonee's picture on it. All of it's strange, she stated. When she looks back, she remembers when she asked Ebonee to come over the night she went missing, and Ebonee had said, "No, I've already eaten a salad, I'm fine, and I just stepped outside to get some air." Her mom said that was a red flag. Because I know Ebonee, and she doesn't like cold weather, so number one, she's not going to be walking up and down the street. It is a mystery that weighs on her every single day. More than anybody could ever imagine, she said. It is a weight that only a mother could understand, but as a mother and grandmother, she says, she has to keep pushing. And here's an audio clip of Ebonee's mom.
So life goes on, but in the midst of all that, you're thinking, I'm able to eat, I'm able to sleep, I'm able to do this. Is Ebonee able to do these same things? Is she being taken care of? Is she all right?
These thoughts keep her making these water bottles. It is a mystery she will continue telling, a picture she will continue showing until Ebonee's disappearance is solved.
So now we're 2-year anniversary of Ebonee's disappearance, January 14, 2018. On Sunday afternoon, dozens of people gathered for an awareness walk to continue keeping Ebonee's name out there. Her mom is hopeful someone will speak up about her disappearance. As her mother, she is the youngest of my 4 children, and each day I wake up, Lord, where is my child? Reveal to me, where is my child? And as a grandma, I look at my granddaughter every day and know she's getting older and she needs her mom. Harriet Rivers said there are still no leads on the case. And now, a year later, January 12, 2019, per WWAY News, just days away from the 3-year anniversary of Ebonee's missing persons case, the Q Center for Missing Persons honored Ebonee at the annual pig pickin'.
And I haven't really heard of a pig pickin'. We live in California, so I don't think that's something we really do out here, but maybe it's more popular on the East Coast.
Yes. The pig pickin' brings awareness to missing people all over the country. Dozens stop by for a barbecue lunch. All donations support the Search and Recovery Fund for Missing People. Spokesperson Monica Kaysen says just because people have faded from the media does not mean they have been found.
We're not stopping, said Harriet Rivers, Ebonee's mom. We're not giving up. We are going to continue to look and search for Ebonee until she comes home. Whoever is out there, don't think we're not continuing to look for her. For the past 24 years, the CUE has hosted the pig picking to raise awareness for missing persons in the community.
The weather that day, as her father stated, was raining the night she disappeared. And according to the Farmer's Almanac, the high temperature was 63, the low 34, and it was rain and drizzling, and she doesn't like the rain.
Right, and that's why they were red flag, she was out walking around, she said.
Right, so what happened to Ebonee?
So actually, one of my thoughts was, we talked about her being like kind of paranoid that someone's following her or scared of, her surroundings a little bit, which kind of leads me into the crime in this area. So in Wilmington, North Carolina, their population is about 119,000, and this is according to bestplaces.net. The crime is ranked on a scale of 1 being low and 100 being high. So the violent crime is a 35.4, and U.S. average is 22.7, and the property crime is 60.8, and the U.S. average is 35.4. So kind of doubled in the property crime.
And per the Port City Daily News on October 1st, 2017, The FBI's annual Uniform Crime Report is in many ways a job evaluation for police departments across the country. And this most recent report covers crimes committed in 2016. Wilmington has seen increasing violent crime, including rape and murder. But homicide is at an all-time high, with a per capita murder rate that is nearly double that of Charlotte, North Carolina. And some of the factors behind these numbers are the opioid epidemic.
Now, another kind of thought was, maybe she was suicidal because she was on all this new medication, like antidepressants and everything. But her mom, Harriet, said her daughter had never talked about taking her own life. Even in her weakest moments, no, her mom said. If she had taken her own life, I think her body or something would have been found by now. That's why her mom thinks her daughter's disappearance is very suspicious. Per her mom, no clothes, no money, no ID, no nothing. To me, if she was just going to walk away, why take the time to lock your apartment, though? You wouldn't have cared.
Right, and she has a daughter that she loves very much.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thought is the night she disappeared, she met her parents at the Wilmington police station to get help. And then the next night, she was headed back there on her own.
Right.
She was having a mental breakdown.
Yeah, she was pretty much reaching out for help.
Right. And per the National Council for Behavioral Health, there is a mental health crisis in America. The demand for mental health services is stronger than ever, with nearly 6 in 10 Americans seeking or wanting to seek mental health services either for themselves or for a loved one. These services are insufficient because of high cost and insufficient insurance coverage and limited options and long wait times.
Now, per CBS 17 News, Detective Odom states, Ebonee may have been involved with a male, a boyfriend, who she had taken a large amount of money from, who is incarcerated in Georgia. I would like at this point then to do nothing more than get a name for him. Detective Odom said the FBI has since opened a case on Ebonee, investigating all leads involving a possible kidnapping across state lines. Agents have searched in Georgia but have had no luck. So that's a little interesting right there.
Yes, and when the FBI gets involved, then you know that there's more enforcement, and this family is now getting the support they need, it seems like, with the FBI involvement.
Finally, look at what they've had to go through.
And if you want to do some more investigation about Ebonee, you can find her on Facebook at Find Ebonee Spears Facebook page. She has about 1,200 followers. And then there's also one called Ebonee Spears Missing Facebook page, and that was by Deanne Grace. And that one has about 867 followers.
There is a reward of up to $5,000 for any information leading to an arrest in Ebonee's disappearance, and is still available according to Police Department spokeswoman Linda Raleigh Thompson. If you have any information about Ebonee's whereabouts, you can contact Detective Lee Odom with the Wilmington Police Department at 910-343-3686.
And it seems like it would be helpful if they release that video of Ebonee, that it might spark some idea in somebody's mind that maybe they had seen her that evening.
Right, I agree. You can also contact Crime Stoppers at 910-763-3888 or 1-800-531-9845.
You can also contact us at mysteriously-missing411@gmail.com or view us on our Instagram, Mysteriously Missing.
You can also find us on YouTube. We always post videos and with pictures and everything. And then you can also find us on iTunes and Podbean. We have our podcast available on there.
Let's bring Ebonee home to her family and friends, her daughter especially. She's well-loved and missed, and she needs to come back to her family.
Right. It's been over 3 years, so any information, just please bring her back home.
It's been way too long.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.